In this video, I'm going to prove to you guys why an 8-year-old computer is still good for most of us. With the release of brand new hardware like Intel Alder Lake and RTX 3000 series, prices of computers have gone up substantially. That's why an 8-year-old computer can save you a lot of money and still be good. To prove my point, I'll be switching to an 8-year-old i5 4590 with 16GB of RAM. Yes, this will be a significant downgrade of over 5 generations from my i7 9th gen. But this will be very interesting, so anyways, please join me as I downgrade to a very old CPU. Okay, so I guess this is gonna be my setup for the next week. I guess I'm gonna keep this for a week because I still gotta sell PCs with Joseph Angeles PCs, and this originally belonged to a PC which was gonna be sold. But anyways, let's just do this challenge. So pretty much, I believe, this is my hypothesis, that this 8-year-old computer will still be plenty for what I'm using a computer for. Okay, so first impressions of this computer, the i5 4590 is technically lacking, especially in video editing where playing GoPro footage is pretty much impossible. It's laggy, it's choppy, so pretty much 4K 60 footage you can't play that. That's pretty much obvious. The good thing is that all footage from this camera shot on 1080p 60 plays perfectly fine with Intel with the Intel QSV decoding. So pretty much if I film all my videos without using my GoPro and using this, I should be fine. Okay, so pretty much not even one day, and nothing I noticed is that I believe the stock cooler on this thing is a bit broken. You see, I don't think you can see this, but it's a big gap there. So probably this thing is going back on the shelf, and what I did was I just installed this Cooler Master one that has been sitting on my shelf for a long time. Hopefully, I can fix this cooler later.
So this is pretty much day one of just using this computer, and for me, the computer is actually pretty snappy. I mean, the boot times are good. I can easily web browse. It isn't as bad as I thought. The stuff, I can do all my schoolwork on this, and I have not noticed the difference between my i7 computer and this computer. The only difference I've noticed is when I was video editing, the finale of Joseph Angeles PC Season 2, and I can tell you that, yeah, it definitely struggled. I only got one 4K stream working, which is still pretty impressive for something that came out like 8 years ago. And if I put another video on top of the 4K video, I can't really play, and that's why I'm playing at like 1/8 resolution, which surprisingly still works, which I'm pretty happy about.
So pretty much it is a Saturday evening, and this is technically the day 2 update. Yes, I've still been using this i5 4590 PC. I haven't been doing any gaming on it because I had no time. Pretty much right now the computer works fine, like doing normal web browsing tasks, looking through Facebook, editing spreadsheets, playing music, even video editing. The computer actually does pretty well, surprisingly. So like right now, my verdict, like to be honest, like on day 2, is like this computer, like if you guys bought this computer, you would like love it, because number one, it's faster than your laptop, of course. Even though this computer is like 8 years old, it's still faster than your laptop. It's really cheap, and I think the computer is really good, especially like I've been using it for the past 2 days and the whole day today, and it's been great. Well, I'm gonna see you tomorrow morning and I'll give you guys an update if I do any gaming. Currently, right now, I'm trying to game on this i5 4590 PC, but it's a pretty weird combo. I'll talk about that in the conclusion. There's a 980 Ti and an i5 4590. So pretty much I have gamed in a 980 Ti with the 1,000 New Zealand dollar gaming PC. So I pretty much know the FPS numbers and what I'm supposed to be expecting from the 980 Ti. And right now, I don't know. I don't think I can actually notice the difference. There has been some stuttering, which I had to definitely benchmark later and tell you guys in the end. But currently for me, gaming at 60 frames per second is pretty good in most games like COD, Fortnite, and Grand Theft Auto. So pretty much, this is pretty much like the halfway of my challenge, but to be honest, I might just take a step back from computers and not be using my desktop anymore, because I want to learn some programming, and that's why I'm probably going to be using my laptop most of the time. Pretty much, yeah, I'm going to cut this challenge short. I'm gonna still use this computer to edit this video, of course, so pretty much for the full 7-day challenge, but I won't be using it as much as I want to. But anyways, I think we should just talk about benchmark numbers.
Okay, so just woke up and let's look at the list like that. Blue screen of death. Are you kidding me? Day 4 be like.
Okay, so it's finally been pretty much over a week. I really didn't run out of time to film this episode, but anyways, so this was my daily driver computer for the past week. As I said, it features an i5 4590, an 8-year-old CPU, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. Pretty much, you might think this will be a terrible experience, as you guys might know with your laptops are just really crap. Let's talk about the results of this hardware. So pretty much in this 8-year-old computer, let's talk about gaming on this 8-year-old computer. So pretty much we paired it with a GTX 980 Ti, which was pretty much the best GPU you could buy pretty much 8 years ago. It's still very good. I still use it with my i7. So in Fortnite and on competitive settings, we got around about 120 average FPS. There was a lot of dips. Pretty much this thing, especially at the FPS, was dipping a lot. But pretty much, if you lock this thing in at 60 Hertz or 60 frames per second, this thing does fine. Also, if you increase the settings from competitive settings, which is pretty much low, to around about high settings, this computer also does really well while looking really good at the same time. GTA 5 is the same thing. I can push this thing up to very high settings, and this thing still averages around about 90 FPS, which is seriously impressive because due to the age of this CPU. Another game we also tested out was Call of Duty Warzone. In Call of Duty Warzone, this was like probably the, let's just say, the worst game out of the bunch. Usually if you play this game on, let's just say, a more modern CPU, like an i5 9th gen, which is about 5 generations up, it plays fine at around about 70 FPS, but we can definitely see how like the CPU is struggling while the GPU is just having a break and relaxing. We got 35.7 average FPS in Call of Duty Warzone. Let's just say I'm a bot at Call of Duty Warzone and I couldn't even defend myself because this thing was stuttering, and it's a stuttering mess. But overall, this computer does very well in Call of Duty Warzone with an average of around about 60 frames per second. So pretty much if you bought this computer, you would not notice the issues of this computer and it's stuttering when you locked all your FPS to 60. Let's just say in productivity, the 4K editing is, let's just say it's doable, but it's not recommended. But 1080p on this thing in H.264 works perfectly fine, and I really seriously recommend you guys should try this challenge out for yourself. The computer is relatively cheap, around about $200. For me, like I've been doing my productivity tasks in Lightroom and Photoshop. It does great. We'll go into more detail on how good that is in the next part. If you guys just do schoolwork, if you do Word, if you write documents on Docs, if you make Google Slides, if you check your Gmail for school, the computer is fine. And pretty much you can build something like the 500 New Zealand game PC, which has the exact same i5 4590. The i5 4590 is still capable for most people. Even though some offices are throwing i5 4590s out, I think it's a waste because frankly, not everyone needs the latest and greatest, as demonstrated in this video. So this challenge has been really interesting, seeing how 8-year-old hardware performs in 2022. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, so still using this computer. The computer has an issue while playing YouTube videos now for some reason. It plays YouTube videos, but it drops a bunch of frames. You see them here? It's dropping 170 frames, 180 frames. And this is be a terrible issue because I can't watch YouTube videos anymore.